Hello, everyone. I'm Ted Everingham, class of 1961 at Albion College, and proud to be the host of these Briton conversations. We spend a few minutes talking with alumni, others who've been important to Albion, sometimes students. I hope you enjoy this conversation today with Ayesha Edwin. Ayesha, welcome.
Hi, it's so great to be here.
You're an adjunct lecturer
Yep,
at the University of Michigan.
yep. And a program manager for an initiative called Engage, which really helps the university connect to community organizations and activists. And it's been great. It's been really awesome being part of that.
Flesh that out a little bit. Tell me some of the things, what you lecture about, and tell us more about Engage.
Sure. So I teach classes on really social policy and also a little bit health policy as well. Engage is an initiative to really help the school build its connections with community organizations, to help teachers, to help faculty to teach, engaged courses. So if a faculty wants to link up with a community organization, they can do that, and we help with that. We help with small grants. We help with a variety of things. One of the other things actually that I primarily do is something called the virtual discussions. And I feature activists that I know in the field, primarily from Detroit, in these virtual discussions that are open to students and other faculty members to attend. And they're always around equity issues. So they might be around food justice or water justice or housing, or we have one coming up that is on economic equity in Detroit and some big players that are involved in that. So it's been great.
It's been great. It's important work. So
Yeah.
you're kind of Engage is kind of a dot connector.
Yeah, exactly. It's a dot connector.
Yeah, but by which I mean you see a resource here and a need there, and you connect the two.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's vital work. You
Yeah.
graduated from Albion in 2007.
I did, and I loved Albion.
Well, I did too. But tell me about your time there. How did you happen to come to go to Albion? And what was your major?
Yeah. So I was a sociology and political science major, and I had a minor in the Ford Institute of Public Policy, and also I did music. So I did a lot. And Albion was different from growing up in Ann Arbor. It was much smaller, but it was really rewarding. I really got to know my professors super well. Len Berkey, who recently passed, was a really central figure in me going into social work later and social justice later. He really helped me kind of look at things from an equity lens and a structural lens that I hadn't before. And I think Albion allowed me to just get involved in community activism, made me realize how passionate I was about it. So, I started the school's chapter of Amnesty International, and then I ended up going and doing my internship at Amnesty International USA in New York. And I was part of Alpha Chi Omega sorority. And then I became their VP of Fraternity Relations, which was to help us, continue to do activity that benefited a battered woman's shelter in Battle Creek. And that was really life-changing experience. So Albion really gave me the experience, the first kind of experience of what it was like to be involved in social justice work.
And both in and out of the classroom.
Right.
And on and off campus.
Yep. And even in Australia. Yep, I did my study abroad in Australia.
Oh, no, really?
And I did, international human rights kind of focus there, and Albion gave me that opportunity. So I'm grateful for experiences I have there.
You are the face of liberal arts, sociology, political science, music, and action.
Yeah, you can put it that way. Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been able to cultivate all those things at a different school, but I was able to at Albion.
How did you choose Albion? Did you consider other schools?
I did. I considered bigger schools, bigger in-state schools. I chose Albion because I really wanted individualized attention academically. I was pretty sure that I wanted to go into a certain field, but I wanted someone to help me kind of cultivate that. And at Albion, I was able to regularly meet with professors. I was able to be a political science research assistant all 4 years. I know that at bigger schools, opportunities like that sometimes are harder to get. There's just more people.
Sure.
And then I was able to really develop my skills in arts and in music. So there was a few things. It was liberal arts and the focus on, being just a well-rounded person. And there was also the ability to really connect with my professors in a way that really shaped who I am today.
Well, you sound, I was decades before your time at Albion. And yet when I tell my story, the words may be different, but the story is the same.
Yeah.
I was prepared to go. I grew up in Jackson, Michigan. I was the first person in my immediate family to go to college. I had been accepted at Michigan and was excited about it. I was a sort of introverted 18-year-old. And through circumstances I won't bore you with, I suddenly had the opportunity. Some things happened that make it economically feasible for me to go to Albion, and someone encouraged me to look into that. And so I went over to Albion, all of 20 miles away. And I'd been on campus exactly once when I was probably in elementary school to help my father and my uncle deliver my cousin, student. And I was on campus for, I don't know, a few minutes, maybe an hour, and I began to feel comfortable, almost at home. And like you, one of the things that impressed me was walking across campus and hearing people address others by name. And it was student to student, but it was also student to faculty.
Yeah.
They knew each other. And it was an amazing experience for me because that skinny, introverted kid from Jackson just blossomed as a result of that. And my favorite professor, long gone now, was a man named Julian Rammelkamp. I was a history and political science major. And he came to my wedding.
Wow.
I mean, that wouldn't have happened at Michigan, right?
Yeah. It's really hard to make those connections. I mean, Len Berkey is someone who I stayed in touch with and I met with, and he encouraged me to apply to Michigan for graduate school for years. And I think it's really hard to make those connections when, now that I'm a faculty member in a big school, when you just have so many students.
It's got to be a bit overpowering.
Yeah. I mean, in the School of Social Work, thankfully, we have small classes and we do have that ability, but I see the undergrad, it's very big.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I happen to have a granddaughter who's a junior at Michigan right now. And she thrives in that environment.
Yeah, and some people do. Some people really do.
Right. And her grandfather wouldn't have. Hindsight tells me. Understand the governor made you the chair of the Michigan Asian Pacific American Affairs Commission. What's that all about? That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is a mouthful. It's a huge honor. So it's basically, the state has about 3 ethnic commissions. They have the African American Commission, they have the Latino Commission, and the Asian American Commission. And I was selected to be a commissioner about a year ago, and then recently I was asked by the governor's appointment office to become the chair. And it is a huge honor. I think that, after my journey at Albion, I got more involved in kind of just exploring and understanding my identity as an Asian American and what that meant. Having parents who are immigrants, and I'm actually an immigrant. I mean, I was born in England, but, being kind of first generation here, you always kind of feel like you have these dual identities. And I got more involved in Asian American just activism and civil rights work. And then I led an organization for about 5 years called American Citizens for Justice, which is a pretty historic organization. It investigates hate crimes. And I really kind of thrive doing that work. And so it's been a huge honor now to be appointed as chair, because my goal is really to kind of unite and help uplift the various Asian American communities. We're very diverse, but when we work together, we can have a lot of power. And when we work with others, we can have a lot of power to do good. So that's my hope now.
You are a busy woman.
I'm a busy woman. I am a busy woman right now.
And you're loving it though.
I'm loving it. I think these are great opportunities. So I'm loving it and I'm thankful.
Well, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. Um, you did get a master's at Michigan, as I understand it.
Yep.
Master of social work. What was the
Yep.
concentration of your study there?
It was a public policy and evaluation, so kind of research and evaluation. And it helped prepare me to go into a different field, which I started to go into clinical kind of quality improvement later. In addition to some of the social justice work I did, I really thrived at quality improvement. And then I went and I got my Six Sigma at the School of Engineering. And again, I think that coming from a background where there was such an emphasis on, you don't have to just pick one thing, you can be good at different things, like having that liberal arts background, it helped me kind of see myself and see my skills as more of a kaleidoscope in terms of there's different possibilities here I can put together. There's not just one track. You know, I have friends who went to these big schools and they were always pre-med and they were in the pre-med school and they graduated. And that's all they've ever known. They haven't taken any other classes. I actually didn't even know what sociology was when I came to Albion, and it is, that field is really my passion. It's everything that I do. Like, I consider myself a social worker, but also a sociologist. Just meeting, you know, learning about different issues and different cultures. But to go back to that point, so yeah, I really do believe that going to Albion set me up to be able to see a more diverse range of possibilities.
I think, again, you're kind of singing my song. I say the same things. I was one of those rare people that started on a path. I wanted to be a lawyer, I thought, when I was in high school. I'm not sure why. I still don't know why, but I went through Albion and I went on to the law school in Ann Arbor, and I became a lawyer, and I've had a wonderful career. But when I look back on the courses I took, they prepared me to do anything. Well, maybe not brain surgery or oral surgery, but it opened so many paths for me.
Yeah. And
you're kind of saying the same thing. So when you get to Albion and you find out what sociology is, that amuses me. When you left high school, what did you think you wanted to do?
That's a good question. You know, I always had very kind of varied interests in psychology, in law, but I knew that I always was interested in how people thought and how they think and how people organize and get together with sociology. I just didn't have a term for it. I knew that I didn't really believe that people were just, you know, shaped by their genetic predisposition or how they were treated growing up, but that people were also really, I mean, you know, people are sheep. They're also really shaped by their social influences. And I didn't know what that was called. I remember getting sociology confused with zoology. I really had no idea. So it's kind of learning about the way that people think and how people influence each other is really fascinating to me. So I think I was always interested in sociology.
Well, I'm impressed that there's so much emphasis in your career, what you're doing now, or maybe even it's careers, on equality, diversion, inclusion, belonging. That's an important part of what's going on in Albion at the college right now, as you know.
Yeah.
I assume you applaud that initiative.
I do. I see a lot of amazing ways that Albion has grown just to be a more inclusive environment. I think it's important, and I think it's really amazing.
Yeah, I do too. And on the alumni board now, we're doing some required group reading and meeting periodically to talk about those issues, because President Johnson has said everyone associated with the college, all the departments, and our alumni group are going to do that. And we're doing it, and we're doing it with enthusiasm. And if you could compare the demographics at our college today compared to when I was there, and perhaps even when you were there.
Even when I was there, yeah.
Big difference.
Big difference. I mean, I was one of two like students of color in my entire class. And I think in some ways that was hard. In other ways, it probably forced me to be more interested in like the science of belonging, right? And sociology of belonging, of being influenced, of identity. So everything happens for a reason, and I don't regret the experience. And I also think that, like, I was exposed to people who had lifestyles and backgrounds that I couldn't relate to, that were different from mine. And some of those people became my really close friends. And that was also important, to have that diversity of thought and of background in my personal sphere in a way that I hadn't before.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of the things I kind of missed in my time at Albion. While I was on campus for 4 years, there were, to the best of my memory, and I've tried to dig through the yearbook and all that, there were 3 people of color
Yeah.
out of 1,300 students. 3.
Yeah.
Not,
Yeah. That's not the real world. But I think that Albion has changed a lot for the better in that regard.
Absolutely, Ayesha. Absolutely. Well, thank you for all you're doing. You're making a better world.
Well, thank you. And, thanks to places like Albion that really helped me to get here.
Well, Albion helped me get wherever I am. I find myself grateful to that college. And nearly every day I consciously think of it, and I bet you do too.
I do.
Good.
Really
Thank you for being with us for this Briton conversation. Good luck to you, and I hope that someday we will run into each other on campus.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay.
I hope so too.
Thank you very much, Ayesha.
Thanks again. Bye now.
Bye.